ability on yourself. Whenever you look for reasons or explanations for your failure from outside, it shows a high level of responsibility, and it tells of who you are. And it means that all throughout your life, that problem will follow you. The problem of putting blame on other people or looking for explanation for your failure in other things rather than in yourself. That is why I intentionally asked you, why didn't you do it? I wanted to hear you.
We agreed. We did agree.
No, you didn't agree, but I know exactly what you said.
I said it was too interesting.
No.
Stop giving excuse.
No, wait. I know our own problem. I will tell you our own problem. You know what she said? Our own problem is worse than somebody who said the teachers spend too much time. Our own problem, what she said, she thinks I don't remember, but I don't believe it's anything. I attend proper. I'm here. You know what she thinks? She thinks it is not possible for anybody to do that amount of work and still finish the book. That's what you are thinking. And I'll prove it to you. You know how I know? Because you told me just now, 5 minutes ago, you said, I should check the works of those people if they really did it or not. Which is to say, you don't believe, you think since you couldn't make it, other people probably didn't make it. You think other people are cheating.
But they stood up.
Okay, they stood up because they gave a reason. But what about him, her, him, all the people who are sitting, who got it, who did it? Why are you standing? You didn't finish?
I finished my assignment.
They finished their assignments. Only she finished, but wrote weak work. Yeah, but all of them finished their assignments. You didn't finish your assignment. You didn't even. Why are you standing? Come on, stand up. Huh?
My assignment has been marked.
But you didn't finish it. Huh? No cheating here. No, you are right. The guy should kneel down. Come on, stand up. Because I didn't want to side with her, because I like to give people, not just that, but to believe them. If you say you did it, it means you did it. I can't believe that you didn't do it and you sit down. Yeah, but basically, if you didn't finish your work, you don't sit down. You stand up. Just be sincere about it. If you didn't read it, stand up. But still, I don't think it's proper for me to say, because I didn't make it, it means these people must be cheating if they say they made it. No. Maybe they are better than me in some areas where I'm not good enough. You say, I would rather accept that defeat, because that is going back to taking responsibility. And that is going back to saying that I couldn't make it because I had some weaknesses somewhere. But that doesn't mean that they cheat. I don't know how they made it, but I would rather go to them to ask. And how did you make it? And for them to teach me something that I didn't know. That is a better approach than suspect them. You see? So, but basically, I gave you some gist before yesterday that, you've got to plan your time. Why? You couldn't cope with that.
Almost there.
Yeah. Okay. If you people said you are typing slowly, I could understand that. Maybe you don't have the experience to type fast. That could be a problem. Maybe that's why it took so long. So, but still, but with the book, the whole thing, the bottom line is that it's either you took too long writing your paper, your test, and if you want to be effective, we need to also learn to do the work and do it fast. Not just here, but in life in general. You know, sometimes some people do an excellent job. Some people do excellent job sometimes. But if you do it too slow, other people take the prize. So, you know, in this place, we also try to encourage people, not just to do the task, but to do it efficiently, fast enough, because we are living in a speed generation. You know, this generation we live in, everything is about speed. And not just speed, but with quality as well. So we try to encourage that here. So, yeah, if how many people say they don't know how to type fast? Okay, so if there are no number of you who don't know how to type, and you use computer, okay, then that might be a challenge for us.
Yeah. So I have something on the homeworks.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody will concur, but I think the questions are not precise.
Okay.
Yeah, they are repeated.
Yes.
So the English sometimes saying one thing in different ways, and it makes it complicated because you have to answer it the same way over and over, and sometimes it looks irrelevant, like you're trying intentional.
No. I actually mentioned that. If you people remember, I actually mentioned that before we gave you the assignment. I said there will be instances when they are repeated that don't worry, you could either pay the same answer that you have answered, or you even leave it out altogether. Did anybody remember?
Yes.
So
you wanted to stand.
Yeah, but you could just paste it. Just put the same answer you have answered before in the same. So that's not a big major reason not to finish the work. That is actually rather the reason why you should finish the work, because it reduces your workload. So yeah, it's supposed to reduce it. But what we are saying, let's go to the basics. We are here for self-improvement. This is training. So if we are here for training, we should always be looking inside. Where can I be better? And the reason why this is important, this aspect of things, is for us to find out our weak points. Maybe we have not paid too much attention to before. For me, for example, that kind of book you couldn't read, this book is supposed to take not more than 2 hours. No, that's maximum. If you are an avid reader, if you are used to reading, if you like to read, if you think fast, if if it's a culture, if it has become a culture to you. But what we want to develop in you is to have that culture, to have a culture of reading. And reading and devouring books, not just read because it's an assignment, but for yourself. So every day while you are going to be here, you have to read new books, but still finish the old one. You still finish it and still read another tomorrow. So we want to imbibe in you by force the culture of reading. We want to make you be able to be disciplined enough. And also, I think, like I said, maybe the reason why some of you couldn't make it is because you are too slow in writing the assignment themselves. Yeah, so let's note that. Let's know that and try to, to work faster. But typing, in 3 days you will not learn to type fast, for sure. That could be a challenge. How do we resolve that? But if you try to write, is it faster to write?
Yes. Sometimes I encourage people to type. Because I remember the last one, I couldn't type. I didn't see myself as being able to type. But because of the persistence of the assignment, I had to learn how to. And I'm getting better with speed. But if I revert to writing, then I forget how to type again.
You don't get better.
You don't get better.
So I suggest
keep on going.
I suggest just a little bit extra time, and we stay with the pattern, because actually typing it makes it easier for those that read it. You just email it to them. They don't have a problem of the handwriting issue, and it helps us as God gives us books. We're not just going to write it; we're going to type it.
Yeah. But I think since you are here for 3 days and you are constrained by time, you can longhand.
Okay.
To make it easier and faster for you. When you get back, it's a 3-day intensive program. Do the longhand. That shortens the time you used to.
Yeah, so that might be a way out for some people.
Okay.
Yeah, also I find that it would be beneficial if some people were allowed to skip eating.
Yeah, we do that.
And sometimes I explore our day, and I'm not less interested in eating, but
Well, I think you don't necessarily like for me. I don't necessarily need to skip eating, but I need to learn. Also, it's a skill. You are got to get a skill, the ability to both eat and multitask. Yeah, eat and read, and then eat and do several. Read and do several other things at the same time.
I have to admit, Pastor Sunday, I never people. What I'm learning from this is people are more capable than they realize.
Yes, that's what we want to derive from them. We want them to realize that they are capable of doing much more than they could imagine. And I want them to believe in that. But what I'm getting are excuses, and I'm afraid they might not be able to discover their possibilities. Yeah.
Like, I remember you would read a magazine and talk to me at the same time, and I used to
Can
be
you
in
imagine?
awe of that. And I thought that's something I could never do, and I tried it for the first time at the table tonight with the brother there, and actually, you can train yourself to do it.
I personally, my normal regime is to combine three things. Talk to you, reading, writing, thinking, minimum three things I do at the same time, minimum. But for you to be a highly effective person, that is just, it should be just the regular thing for you. It has to become not the norm. So just combining two things is the least. That is very simple. That is too easy. But 2-3 things, that should be the norm.
What they base the criteria for excellence in writing, or when they look at a paper?
Oh,
the volume of it, or what?
A lot of things. They've told you already the other day, yesterday. You remember yesterday they came forward, and this morning also they told you. But they will still tell you more, but I will not repeat because it's taking time as well. So, but no. What I'm saying is, we need to read our books, and we need to work faster. But for you to be able to read a book, you need to combine a lot of things. Okay, you who are able to read it, how are you able to make it? Could you tell us? Give us some gist. Because maybe some of you combined. Maybe some of you are reading in the toilet. Maybe some of you are, you wrote faster. Maybe what helped you to make it?
Every spare second other than...
Every spare second.
And I only slept a half hour last night. And so
Wow.
I figured if I'm going to lay there awake, I might as well be reading at the same time.
That is good. That is good.
I started reading it yesterday.
Speak up. Louder.
I started reading it yesterday.
I read it
yesterday. I did answer 6 questions.
Very good.
So it
Yesterday.
remains 5 or 7. I did them today. And because I'm typing, I'm reading so.
Very good. So you can take a clue from some of the things they are telling us. But you didn't finish.
I finished my book. Yeah, I started reading it.
Okay.
Yesterday night.
Go ahead.
So I started reading yesterday night too, and then at every opportunity, eating, toilet, everything I was reading.
Yeah.
So
that is important. Because this is a small book. There's so much to learn in this world. There's so much knowledge out there. You need to go fast. We don't have time. You need to be fast. There is so much to know that this is nothing. There is so much knowledge out there that we are supposed to be hungry for those knowledge.
Then apart from this is the first time I'm actually reading and eating deeply, then going on everywhere with it. Then again, all of the I did was that there are some Bible verses that are written that are known already. So I don't.
Very good. Some of the Bible verses just need to read the beginning, and you have an idea. And some of the phrases you already know how it's going to finish. So you just need to. Yeah.
And sometimes reading aloud, speed reading, if you read it aloud to yourself, you are faster than when you are reading it inside your
Well, not for everybody.
Yeah.
Not for everybody. Yeah.
Don't even mouth the words, just in your head.
Yeah.
And look at the first line and the second line at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started reading yesterday evening, and I had a note so that some pages where when in future I want to read it again, I have a note.
Yeah. Or you go underline. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Thank you. Now, So what are we going to do with all of you? I think you have to stand because that's the way you get pain, and pain helps you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Do you have any problem with your health or something? You girls, you ladies, are you okay? Yeah, please. Please, a warm floor. It's not cold there. Anyway, okay, now let's. I have a question for all of you, standing and sitting. Both people standing and sitting. How was your day today? Don't put off that lie. You did. How far? Did you gain anything from the seminars and things like that? How was your day? You are sleeping already or something?
No, sir. I enjoyed the presentation from Oksana. Yeah, I did it in June and I couldn't get her. I don't know why, but with the presentation, because she came with the visuals today and she did it with visuals, it was better and she promised that she'd give us a handout today.
So what did you get from that?
Like
because you didn't come for enjoyment. Because what you said, I enjoyed that, Sana.
Right, I got the team building because she's talking about team building, and I know that when I left in June, I didn't get it. So
do you think you could now go and begin to build your own team, and you'll be able to build a team?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anybody want to say something?
Today we learn.
Speak louder so that they could learn.
Today we learn more about because
why don't you read as you listen, everybody? Or you guys, is it no chance for you to finish? You could finish while you are still standing.
The bishop gave us really a blueprint of how we can start a social organization.
Yeah, the bishop did a good job. Huh?
And that was fantastic. It really gave us A to Z what to do, how to start, and that's really, it helped us a lot.
And so what are you going to do with that?
We are putting in practice. That's the first thing I have to do. Okay. Because it gave us everything. So you don't need a big church to start. You need just few people to start. Yeah. Even if you have 2 or 3, just come together, decide what are the aim, how long you have to do it, where to go and do it, put the direction, and that's what you have to do.
Okay.
Yeah. And group 2 upstairs.
Sorry?
I mean group 2.
Yeah, speak louder.
The presentation we had was excellent, and just
no. You have it. What's the name of your teacher?
The
Svetlana.
The Svetlana over there did the presentation. It was good. One of the high points of the presentation was when a member of our group asked her, "Why is it that all of you guys love Pastor Sunday so much?" And her answer was incredible. She said, "We have seen Pastor Sunday in public." She said, particularly myself, I've seen him in public. I've seen him in the office. I've seen him in different places. And Pastor Sunday is very, very real. He is like a father to us. And that to me defines leadership. The consistency and the humility and being all things, so to speak, for all people, being transparent before the people creates this kind of bonding that people follow you even if it requires their laying down their lives. And that is a great testimony on your behalf. She didn't say that because you were there, but that was just...
Okay.
We had Andre, an ex-KGB man, who took us through incredible testimonies of how the Lord has led him through his business and the growth of his business. So he was sharing some kingdom principles. And what I drew from that was the need to just have a healthy communication with God, that He will guide you. He gave us some examples of how he felt impressed upon. Not to focus on growing money in his business, but to focus on getting the word of the Lord out.
The kingdom, carrying the values of the kingdom.
And his business has really prospered. He also focused on another point, which was what he called the 10 and 90% rule. And he drew examples from your own life about how you have to live within 10% and give 90% to God. Examples from the home, from the vehicle, and so on.
Very good. Anybody want to say something?
We've had, I can't quite remember, can't call his name, but we had someone that came and talked to us about the new embassy of God.
Andrew?
Bishop.
That's the bishop, yeah.
Okay.
The older guy with the gray hair?
Yes.
That's the bishop of the church.
Yes, he was awesome. But he taught us, just brought the highlights of the difference between a ego church and a social church, and how you can identify the two different ones. How that sometimes we think we're having church, but we're really just.
But really, I don't want you to tell me what he told you because I know it. But what's your conclusion?
Is that now you can discern when you can, if you are actually building a social church that is an honor to the kingdom of God versus a church that is self-serving to itself. You know how to identify the two. So,
from what you learned, will you say most of the churches we see around, especially from America, what category do they belong to?
I would say they are more ego churches. Versus
so you have a challenge to go and support your pastor.
I do, and I'm going.
Okay, so build the kingdom kind of.
Absolutely.
All right, that's the kind of answer I want. I want your
takeaway.
Yeah, your decisions. You know, what are you going away with?
Same thing. The bishop, the new embassy of God.
So Bishop is the hero, huh?
Yeah. we were shouting exactly.
He was, I was here. I was hearing screaming, shouting, jumping.
The question I asked you, some days ago, how do you now multiply the system if you already have something going? The question was answered today. I know what to do. So that was something that I was really, really crying out for, and it was answered. He gave us the full strategy of how to multiply, social churches. So it was. I got it, and I'm going to go do it.
And I want you to get ready to show us some of the things you're already doing. About in the area of what we'll be talking about today. So if you don't mind, they will bring you need a projector?
Yeah, projector and a laptop that is connected to the internet. Because I can't.
Okay, that's connected, no problem. Yeah. And a laptop. He wanted to say something, right?
I think it was the same presentation that he had, that they had, but we had it first. What's his name? Andrew Koshenko. Okay.
Andrew.
He shared something with us. And
it's not the same, though. No. It's not the same presentation. It's a similar, different one. Yeah.
It sounded like it. It sounded like it, but what he shared with us, and my biggest takeaway from it is the fact that a lot of times we focus on the gospel of salvation as opposed to the gospel of the kingdom, which has two parts. The gospel of salvation as well as the gospel of good works. And for me, or for us, we kind of had a moment there that, one of the things we want to do when we get back is to really teach that and ask our people to invite that culture. It's that part that's been missing all along. The part of the gospel of the good works. And, it really...
There is a book that was written on that topic. Somebody came here, a guy from Houston, actually. He's a professor.
And he mentioned his name too.
Yeah, did you see the book? Oh, let me see. Bring the book from the Abiolowe. Hello? Yeah, somebody bring that book from Abiolowe's book. Do you know it? Yeah, bring it. Let me show you. Yeah, missional transformation. Yeah, so he came here to stay here for 3 months. One time, let's say altogether for about 6 months he stayed here, just investigating and our church and researching it as a scientist. So he's the guy who wrote the book about Babalola.
Yes.
He wrote a great book about Babalola, yeah. And here he went and did that research and wrote the book. And then compare it to the history of the church and all that. It's very excellent. Excellent book. Yes.
We did time management systems. One of the examples we used was
who was the teacher?
Benjamin Franklin,
Svetlana.
And that really hit for me because that's my greatest weakness. Time management and procrastination. I realized that I'm not ready to just go and do anything until I can manage myself. And that I knew it. I knew it mentally. I knew it because I have so many things and revelations and assignments that I need to work on. I will start and never finish. And I know in North America, time is always an excuse for not having things done. So when she explained that even in his time management, he planned. So every moment and every minute was accounted for. And so I just realized that I need to go and really work on that aspect of my life.
Very good. Okay. Now, what would you say has been the difference? You know, I've been telling you that the 3 days, the 4 days you had before today, that was holiday, that it was tough, it was a busy day, those were busy days, but that was enjoyment, those are enjoyment days. Have you begin to see the difference now? Tell me about it. Tell me, anyone want to say anything about that? What's the difference between the days you've had so far and today?
That's why we are standing.
That's why we are standing. Do you mean James? Even James is standing?
Yeah.
No, I can't believe it. You have. So let's hear my sister.
I felt like I was going through rehabilitation. So every second of my time was preoccupied by something. You know, mentally, physically.
Brilliant.
I was very, very busy.
Brilliant.
My entire body was
brilliant. Mentally, physically. So you are not just
any other thing than what.
Wonderful. Now, very good. I like teachers. Are you talking as well? Okay. I like what you said. Repeat that again, please. I want everybody to hear it.
I felt like I was going through rehabilitation. That every second of my time was preoccupied by one thing or the other. And as I was doing my homework, I was learning more than I was taught.
So you thought, I like the aspect you said, every part of your body, every aspect.
Physically, mentally, all my fibers, were on fire.
And you said you couldn't think of
any other thing than what we are doing.
So that's what I want you to get that. She couldn't think about any other thing apart from what we are doing. She's so focused. That is called concentration. Focus, concentration. That and addiction by the purpose. You are addicted to the purpose. The purpose are taking over your life. That is how our daily lives is supposed to be. We are supposed to be consumed by our visions. That is when you don't have time for rubbish or going to sin or run around or sleep around. You are supposed to be consumed. If you are not consumed by something, you are wasting life. So what you have just described now is called being consumed by the purpose. So, and that's one of the goals that we wanted to achieve in you here, while you are here. We want you to be engulfed totally into purpose. But the purpose of the day, the purpose of the conference, of the training, things like that. But we want that later on when you live here for your life, for you to have a picture of your life, a plan for your life, a schedule of your life, the goals of your life, and for you to just immerse yourself in it, and for you to be engulfed by it, and be led and carried away by every day. You are driven by it. You are pushed by it. You are pushed by it, and you are driven by it. That is how life is supposed to be. Only people who have that kind of life with the drive, they are the ones that don't have nothing stops them. They don't have any limitations. They don't have any excuse. They live it. They have an excited life. But when you wake up, you think, I will do this, and you don't know. You don't have some. You are not like on a rail. But this is supposed to be like on a rail, locomotive rail. You are on. So as you get on that rail, it just goes on. That's how life is supposed to be, full of excitement.
Can you please say something about these two aspects? There's one where you are driven from within. so that you are, that drive in you, at least that's what I think, maybe something different. Mama was thinking that there's a drive in you that keeps you going with the zeal, which we are describing, as different from the one we're having here, that a constraint was created for us, so you're not allowed to do something else. So you have to now push yourself to do.
Yeah, yes, big difference. What we have done here is to create the atmosphere for you artificially. Mm-hmm. But it's much more difficult when you live here. To push yourself and put yourself into that mindset and push yourself to walk that way. You know, you've got to create the atmosphere for yourself, mentally, psychologically, and purposefully. And that's why we don't want to joke with you here. We want to introduce you to that kind of living, that kind of mindset, so that you will know that this is possible at least. So that when you get back home, you know at least it's possible. If I really want to, if I push myself, I will get it. Somebody raised their hands as well.
I wish to...
Yes. You can come this way. Yes, sir.
First, I wish to congratulate myself for the first time I've been able to sleep for only 2 hours in 2 days. Real as a condition. Previously, I have, reached maybe up to 4 a.m. or 5 when I'm just actually reading the book. But not when this time I have a serious purpose like what we are on. I felt it was very important. Even also, I realized that at some moments, I could do, sleep was coming in. But then as I concentrate, somehow it disappears. Mm-hmm. And you find you are still able to go an extra mile, which previously would not have been possible. My mind...
You thought was not possible.
Yes.
But there is an enormous possibility of the body of the man. I told you the capacity of the brain the other day, right? Did I tell you about the brain? Yeah, did I tell you people remember? I told you? Yeah, the same thing with the body. Although we need to take rest, you need to rest. If you want, sleep 10 hours, 8 hours. But at the end of the day, make sure that the 6 hours or the 8 hours you want to work, you want to live, that is effective. That you live it correctly, right? The purpose-driven life. Yes.
Sorry, I'm still longing for an answer. I don't know whether you're going to comment on it now or sometime later, but how do you generate that drive? Because like you said, if we simply depend on the constraints to really live here, and it would be difficult for us to put that constraint. But if the inner drive is there, so is there a way we could generate that?
My inner drive comes from that meeting with Jesus we just had. Mm-hmm. What Jesus did for me. And just being grateful to him. And I keep on going back to that, what he did for me every day. How he saved me, how he forgave me, how he changed my life. That is the inner, the thing that comes from inside. But otherwise, all other things, I had to invent constraints outside to keep myself going. So some of the things are the things we are talking about, and we'll give you more constraints to help you keep the momentum going. But, you have to invent them, and you have to put them around yourself so that you don't fall back into lethargy. Yes.
Another thing that keeps the drive that I found out is when you discover your passion and that you love what you do. I use my husband for an example. You plead with him to rest. He said, even as he's walking, that is his rest. So, taking off from it is not satisfying to him because you have discovered your passion. I remember when I used to sew. Sewing was my hobby. I can sew through 2 nights without sleep. And I can, after sewing, I go to work, come back, continue. And I don't feel tired. And it was my drive, I could do it. But when I left that and started doing something for another purpose, I started losing that drive. Mm-hmm. You see? So I noticed that if I like what I do, if it's my passion, it pushes me.
Very good. Brilliant. That's true. All right? Anybody want to say any other thing? Yes.
I just want to thank you for this conference or the training. You know, like for myself, the other day you said we should not, give excuse. I give excuse all the time, and when you say we should accept, when we make a mistake, and I really want to thank you because, like now, let me bear the consequence. I will accept the rest of it. I made a mistake, rather than start giving the necessary. And I know that that's a problem. So the best thing is to accept my fault. And so it was the personal mistake.
Brilliant. Thank you. Now, you wanted to know. Somebody was talking about. What were we talking about? Yeah, about the gospel of the kingdom and what has made the embassy of God work. This is the research that was done. And yeah,
is it available for?
I think it's available for purchase, right? Is it on sale? Yeah, it is. So you want to get it. It's one of the best books ever written on the embassy of God. So you want to get this book for sure. It's going to help you. Now, let's go to another thing. I want Pastor Land to tell us about how his efforts and the attempts to implement the kingdom gospel, the kingdom principle in his city of Chicago. After how he encountered EATA and how. Please share if you was and then show us what you have been doing.
Not much has been done yet because we're just in the beginning. Yes.
Introduce yourself.
Yes, I am Gregory Lanijuwola, pastor of City Light Church in Chicago. And before I met Pastor Sunday, all I knew was, what we learned today, the egocentric church. So, I pastored some years.
Because that is everything. That's the only thing you see around.
Yeah. Because I pastored in Nigeria before moving to the United States, and all we knew was, get the people in and count the number, count the offering. That was my concept of church. But I came to the United States, and then I was doing some Bible studies before, and God said you should go start a church in Chicago. And just around the time the church started, because of time I won't be able to share, through some divine arrangement of God, I came in contact with Pastor Sunday, and contacted him, and started coming to the Ukraine. And coming to the Ukraine, I saw a whole new paradigm of church, which is what is called the social, or the, I call it the
Kingdom
unleashed church, or the kingdom church. Church that is not based on, it's not centered on the church, but centered on the community. So the challenge that we had then, because I brought some people, was how to translate what we're saying here into the context of Chicago or America. How can we do it? Because some things, the principle is the same, but the situations are different. For example, in America, there's a lot of things going on. So sometimes you get lost in the noise. Even if you are trying to do something, you get lost because so many things are going on and things have gone on in the past. And so we began to pray, God, how do we do it? And one of the things He led us to was, of course, to start applying, training people. I remember when we came, my wife got back immediately. The Sunday we came back from Ukraine, she told everybody in the church to write out the area, their promised land. She thought about it. And said they should write, what their promised land is, an area where they know that they want to take over the society. First Sunday, and people wrote it down. So we got the whole thing, and we started. Okay, let's start working with people to see how this will work. And so we started some initiative. We saw that partnership really works in the United States, like working with some dying institution, working with the schools, and so on, and just working with what we have. So I just want to show a brief thing of a brief video of some of the things that we do in terms of like outreach. So
what you have started since then.
Yes, yes, sir.
No, tell them the specifics.
Okay, okay.
The church used to be just African.
Yes, the church used to just be Africans, Nigerians, not just, not even Africans. Yeah,
because I came to visit.
So Pastor Zode came to visit, he came to Chicago, and he came to the church, and he saw it, and he said, so the next day, he said, okay, I'm going to teach you how to reach out to people, to a multicultural, audience, that I'll teach you. So, and the instruction came through different, means. Talking with him, when you come to Chicago, I'll sit with him, follow him around, when you were doing the tour, church shift, I'll be in the hotel with him, and then come here, emails and everything, and his messages and books and all that, just to get, what exactly was it. The main thing I saw really was, that I felt was a secret, and he always shared it, that at the beginning he started to read the Gospels, and he saw that scripture, where the Bible says that while the Pharisees rejected Jesus, the common people heard him gladly. So, and that the key to reaching a society is not to try to transform it from the top down, but from the bottom up. So, and then church shifts, but go to the least of this. So 1 year we just made it a mission to go to the least of this, and not to focus on. We want to get them to church just to love people, and just start reaching out to them. But part of the fallout of that was that some of them were transformed, and they became part of the church. Became part of the leadership of the church. Started working in the church to reach out to people within their sphere of influence. So basically, it's actually, like I told you in the beginning, I came here to see how to multiply, and I believe that I got some. I'm still going to get some more, but we're just in the beginning stage. We do partnership with organizations. We teach the people to go and start stuff and all that. And God has given us some things. For example, in Chicago or in the United States, people think that churches can't, preach. Well, churches can't really preach in church. So in schools, in the public schools, but there are ways that can be done, in such a way that you can go in there and still preach the gospel, and the principal, the principals of the school will appreciate. So summary, that I will. Just 1 more minute.
Annette has a question.
Yes, please.
I wanted to, I know you was telling us that, we can read while they're presenting, while we're hearing things like that. So, but in my mindset and my principles or how I've been taught is that if I'm reading or doing something else and somebody else is doing something, it's as though I'm being rude to that person and I'm not paying full or giving that individual their full attention. So I guess, I don't know if that is something I need to change.
No, which is true.
Okay.
Which is true. That is all right, and that is the norm. That is normal. Okay. But there are situations whereby you need to do that.
Okay.
But you should also be matured enough to know the situations when you don't necessarily need to do that. When you could, listen and still do something else. But for example, when I have personal meetings with people, you ask anybody who I meet with, they will tell you that it's like nobody else and nothing else exists in the world, only that person. I normally do that. But there are some times when things are not so important and they are not so urgent and it's not a life and death thing that we are discussing. So I could normally do that.
Well, for me, I felt that everything here has been very important.
Oh yeah.
So.
But for example, when they are sharing like this, you don't need to just listen like that, because you could still listen and still do what you're doing.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. You should learn actually to receive and still do something else. It's just like as a housewife, for example, or a wife. My wife, for example, she uses this principle. I never see my wife just doing something in the kitchen. She's always with a video player or audio player or something. You're always hearing sound in our house. Either she's cooking, you're hearing a message going on the ground, she's dressing the kids, she's preparing for school, message all the time. The same thing with it. So you must learn to combine things like that.
Alright, so the video I wanted to show, unfortunately I can't find it. I saw it this afternoon, but I have another one that I'm going to show right now. So
you can't find it on YouTube?
Yeah, I couldn't find it.
Where did it disappear to?
Maybe the media thing, or maybe this computer, I don't know. But I know. But let's watch the other one. Let me just show you. The other one is a documentary.
No, tell us, how many aspects, what are the aspects of it? Give us a general picture.
Yeah, this one will show it. Shows some of it. This one was a documentary they actually did on the church. Okay. But it will give some part of it. It's not updated.
Excuse me. Did you eventually get some other races into the church?
Yes. Yeah, it should come with the sound, yes.
Nigerian-born Greg Ijuwala is pastor and a student at the Moody Graduate School. It was a short while ago that he made his journey to the States in search of an advanced degree in engineering. But when he saw the plight of the Kingwood community, he had a change of heart, and so he started the church. Urban Ministries professor Dr. John Fuller shares what happened at a men's shelter started by Pastor Greg's church, Saved Light.
We were able to have a program, share the gospel, pray with these men, and they're eating right now a beautiful breakfast that's been brought over for them. And so the intent of this here is 7 days a week, 24/7, to love on the homeless folk in this neighborhood.
Pastor Greg says working with the men in the shelter has taught him much about life, lessons that have been enhanced by his experience at Moody's Graduate School.
I'm learning how to, be biblically smart, to have a solid doctrinal basis for things that we're doing outside, to really know what God says, to learn from the teachers, to have relationships with them and be mentored, and also my friends there at Moody, they inspire me a lot because they're young people doing, wonderful things for God.
He believes it's a privilege to be a part of the Lord's work at the shelter, fulfilling the call of God to care for the less fortunate.
So who are the people that Jesus will reach out to if he was right now in Chicago? Who are those people that will really cause his harm? We identify those people and we just started reaching out to them with the love of Christ.
Not far away, another group of grad students are busy assisting the leaders of Pastor Greg's church at Kennecott Park Community Center. Here, a number of ministry outreach events are taking place simultaneously. Pastor Greg shares a bit of what's happening.
A lot of people there.
Outreach to kids. We noticed that a lot of young kids, they get caught by gang and get caught in all kinds of crises because they don't have mentors to help them. They can use their energy, for positive things, they will use it for negative things. So we decided that we're going to go on the street and bring kids in and give them some positive things to do.
Pastor Greg was not alone in the launch of his church. His wife, Debo Ijuwala, affirms the call of God in their lives.
So we just looked at different segments of the society, and we outlined people that are neglected by the society, like the homeless, the kids, people that are sick, and we decided that as a church, we will reach out to these people and show them the love of Christ.
Pastor Greg again shares the burden God has placed on his heart.
You know, one of the scriptures that really stirred up a passion in my heart in what we're doing, which I'll talk about, is when in Matthew 25, when Jesus talked about, you know, in the last days, he's going to separate the nations from the nations, the goats to the left, the sheep to the right, and he's going to tell them that when I was hungry, you fed me, when I was sick, you visited me, you know, when I was a stranger, you took me. He said, for as much as you've done it to the least of these my disciples, you have done it to me. So that really stirred up something in my heart. Interesting is that the original video